All right, here we go. You all should have gotten that prompt. Alonzo, it's on your prompt right now.
There we go.
And we should be able to fire this off at the same time, roughly. Here we go, start stream. And that should be rolling now. Let's see here. Ah, yes. The Instagram feed is rolling perfectly. Okay, cool. Perfect. All right, we're live. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. This is a weekend showcase for Friday, October 1st, 2021. It's now coming up on 9 p.m. in the East Coast. My name is Don Shannon, and with me tonight are...
I am Raina Soul, extra special contributor. Happy fall, everybody.
Happy fall. Happy fall.
And I'm Alonzo, representative of Dava Marketing, and I'm just really excited to be here.
Cool. Welcome back, Alonzo. It's good to have you here again.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you both here. Actually, we have a jam-packed show tonight. We have a handful. We have about a half dozen movie trailers to blow through here. Let me see if I can go ahead and start this screen up here. There we go. So we have almost a half dozen trailers to get through to react to. Most of which, at least I haven't seen. I don't know how many y'all have seen. Let's see. We have a video game. We have a couple Disney things. We have a Netflix sort of docu-comedy special, and something to do with My Hero Academia, which I understand is a pretty big deal in the anime community. Yes. Are y'all familiar with this type of stuff? Yep. Okay, cool. Awesome.
I am familiar with it a little bit. I hear it from the kids, the My Hero Academia. I always get it wrong. How to pronounce
Academia.
It. What is it?
Academia.
Right. The kids say it so fast, and I'm like, what? What? Okay,
yeah,
cool. Talk about your favorite show.
For the people watching who don't know, you're a teacher by day now, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah. And all of the kids are all about anime.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, is there like no more awesome form of storytelling right now than like anime, really, when you get right down to it?
It's pretty true.
It's like, really. But anyway, there's a larger conversation that can be had about that at a different time. For now, let's go ahead and dive into this thing. We're going to go ahead and start off with a announcement trailer for something called Disney Classic Games Collection. Did y'all play a lot of y'all play any Disney games back when you were younger? No,
I didn't know any Disney games existed.
I know my friend played what was that Disney game where it's like the Kingdom or something? You play like Mickey Mouse in his like Fantasia costume.
That's what I was thinking of.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts. That's it. You knew what I was talking about. Yeah. I've seen my friend play it, but I never really indulged in it myself, but I know of its legacy and importance.
Mm-hmm. Raina, you were about to say something before I cut off. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was picturing that in my head because that's the only Disney game I've ever heard of. I've never played it, but I remember it being out. And all I could think of was Fantasia, but not I don't know what the game consists of or the technicalities of the game at all.
Well, we're about to see some interesting stuff here, it seems. There's some sort of a re-release collection. Excuse me. There's some sort of a re-release collection that's coming down the pipe here. Let's go ahead and see what they've got here. This is the Disney Classic Games Collection. Let's take a look. After this ad, oh crap.
Body turned up.
Darn it. We can't have. Sorry about that. We can't have ads playing on this thing. One moment. It's about to go ahead and start properly here. There we go. All right. Okay, I'm gonna pause this here then. Holy crap, they really dug into the vault here.
Right.
What's y'all's first instinctive reaction to this footage?
Well, it says back by popular demand. I'm not sure who popular demand is because honestly, I hear a lot of people say they want a bunch of other things to come back, but not this. Not this. I've never heard nobody that I know. And I'm a huge like 90s, you know, Sega Nintendo 64 type of girl. And I honestly have just I've never played it, and nobody, I have a lot of like nostalgic conversations with people and everyone's like, oh, you remember this, you remember that? And I'm like, oh, that's so crazy. And we'll all talk about the things from like, you know, earlier days that we played and stuff. This has never come up. This has never come up. I don't know. I don't know who popular demand is, but it wasn't me and my friends.
Well, Alonso, what are your thoughts on this game? Like, does this actually?
I feel like some of the games existed. I know I probably lived past them, but I feel like I recognize a few of them just from watching like video game history videos. Like the Aladdin one looked very familiar from like, you know, past video essays that like I just recently watched, but it looks like one really big collection, like a bundle, kind of like how they came out with the Master Chief collection. So it looks kind of like that for people who probably like those games. But I know I'm not the target demographic, and if you guys definitely aren't the target demographic, then I you know,
who is, because I don't see any of the adults that I know even like playing this. Like I will still get on the game systems and play. I love playing Sonic. I love playing Tomb Raider. I love playing Super Mario Brothers. I love playing Crash Bandicoot. But I just and I don't think the kids, let's talk about the gamers these days. I don't think this will do well with these days in gamers. You can get this for your kids though. If you have little kids that you don't want to play like the type of games that there are now, I would get that for my 5 or 6 year old.
Well,
yeah, I think it's going to do really well in sales wise for the Nintendo, but I see it flopping on the Xbox and PlayStation side for sure.
Sure.
Well,
people don't get Xbox and PlayStation to play this.
Well, I mean, if that's your family console, if you don't have a Switch, but like, you know, dad's got an Xbox One or a PlayStation 5, you know, or something like that, and this might actually, and that's the only thing that the family has, but the kids want something to sort of like induct them to the world of gaming, and maybe like this, the parent might think this might be a decent path because this might be something that actually harbors some fond memories for them, at the very least from the standpoint of the movies, which is a segue to what I wanted to go ahead and reorient this conversation to, in terms of looking at the idea of this. Because Raina, you were asking like, who's the demographic for this? Who is this for? And like, maybe if we think about this, not so much in terms of the video games that it's clearly emulating and trying to resurrect, but in terms of the fandom, like between Aladdin and Jungle Book and The Lion King. I guess Alonso, we'll start with you. What of those movies, the original movies, holds a more fond place in your heart? You know what I mean? Like what has the most meaning?
Probably Aladdin. I think Aladdin had that magicality that Disney just always promoted, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Raina, do you agree, or would you?
Definitely Aladdin all day.
Okay. So then, given that, and given how far they went in terms of basically doing what seems like the Sonic Mega Collection treatment, because that's the only frame of reference that I have for something like this, based on how this was presented here, because they showed a lot of behind the scenes footage and things like that, the making of the original game, or at the very least this remaster, what it took to make this version of this game happen, you know, which the Sonic Mega Collection games that were released on what was it, PlayStation 2, Xbox, or the original Xbox and GameCube back in the day, they had behind the scenes stuff as well, you know, for some of those games that you could unlock through progress. So I mean, this is clearly a love letter to at the very least fans of the original games, if not also the people who grew up with the movies. Fond memories of the movies are there, and like this may be a sort of entry point to old school arcadey kind of games that were inspired by those movies. Maybe, I don't know. It's just a thought.
It's definitely a good way to put it, what you just said about who it's for.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is for sure.
But that being said, Alonzo, I definitely hear your point about like Switch is definitely going to win this running away. If there was a like head-to-head competition between Gary Snelly and the Pet Rock from Patrick.
That is a great metaphor.
I think the Switch, the Pet Rock, would win it running away.
Yeah.
Probably in terms of sales and traction there, but we'll see. Some point later this fall, it looks like, is when this is going to hit all three of those consoles: PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. So there you go. Keep an eye on your local retailers or stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see. Next item. This is Disney Plus. Some sort of series or maybe a movie trailer, something called Just Beyond. As I understand it, this has something to do with a guy named R.L. Stein, which
oh yes,
Ooh.
R.L. Stein.
Goosebumps.
There we go. Yeah. And the Nightmare Room also. And by the way, before I start this, I just want to say really quickly, thanks so much to those of you who are tuning in right now on Instagram and live on YouTube. Don't forget to drop a comment or a question or anything you got below if you got something to interject here, and we might read it live on the air. So that's basically it. Here's Just Beyond, the first trailer. So let's take a look.
I already like the beginning. I already love it.
It just started, Raina. Jeez, hang on.
I already love it. I just like the intro of this trailer. For sure.
It looks like it's going to be another beautiful day.
Are you crazy? You can't bring wands to school.
Bye. The young minds, a sponge. We just give them a little squeeze.
We have a visitor.
Can she see us?
These girls had no regard for the rules.
I don't quite feel like myself.
Trust no one.
Were we cursed?
We're not cursed. We're just different.
We are going to have such a wonderful time together.
Just Beyond. Original series streaming October 13th on Disney Plus.
We are going to have such a wonderful time together.
Oh, sorry. Hang on.
Just
There it is. Okay. So, first reactions to this then.
That was awesome.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this trailer for a couple of reasons. But Raina, I guess we'll start with you since you like lit up immediately at the beginning of this. Like, the instant that I dropped the name R.L. Stein.
I love it. It's giving, what is it giving? It's giving Haunted Mansion from Disney. It's giving a little bit of Back to the Future. It's giving a
Raina,
little
I'm sorry,
bit...
can you step Raina, can you sit a little bit closer to your camera? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can you sit a little bit closer to your
It's
camera?
giving a little bit of Haunted Mansion, Disney's movie. It's
Eddie
giving
Murphy.
a little bit of Casper. It's giving a little bit of Back to the Future. It's giving a little bit of Halloween Town from Disney. It's like all of that together. If you guys have seen Halloween Town, have you ever seen Halloween Town? That was one of the coolest Disney movies of all time. Every single one. Yeah, and Haunted Mansion, the one that had what's his name? Eddie Murphy in it. You remember that?
Yeah.
And like I
that's
said,
actually sort of
Back
being
to the
remade with
Future.
the. Sorry,
It gave me, like,
I was
some
going to say
feelings of-
Sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to mention there's actually a Muppets Haunted Mansion that's about to hit Disney Plus later this month.
Oh
maybe.
my gosh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be awesome. Hopefully, I just love that. And then
Alonzo's jaw just hit the floor.
You for real?
Yeah, there's a Muppets Haunted Mansion about to happen.
it's gonna
Ooh.
be pretty interesting and funny. I like those. There's always little funny new windows when it comes to Muppet stuff.
Mhm.
So what else? Oh, and Casper is giving me a little bit of Casper the Friendly Ghost that had Devin Sawa in it, and just I love it all. I'm here for it. I am here for it.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this trailer as well. Like this really kind of struck me as like something with like almost a what if sort of vibe to it. They're clearly sort of setting this up as not a movie but a series, like some sort of an anthology sort of thing with a lot of different stories that can go in a lot of different directions. I would expect nothing less from something that has R.L. Stein's name attached to it. I anticipate this to finally sort of like erase the stain of the second Goosebumps movie out of my mind.
Out of your mind.
This seems like a really promising return to form. Alonzo, your thoughts?
I really, really liked it. I grew up with the R.L. Stein TV show. I think that was like early to mid 2000s, maybe. It was for me personally, but there was just such a camp to it that made them very likable, but also very digestible for like someone my age, you know? So I could see that it just resonated really well with me because it felt more like that. And there was a really cool shot with like this big tube thing going over like someone's face and a bunch of green smoke coming out of it. That just seemed so, Goosebumps, sci-fi. But you also had like the hooded cults in there that kind of felt really, witchy and witchcrafty. So you're getting
American Horror Story kind of.
Yeah, you're getting a really cool blend of different ideologies in there. So like the really cool vintage like 80s like sci-fi and everyone's screaming into the camera, but then you got like the cults and they're probably doing something like a sacrifice. Those are always very interesting forms of horror in my opinion. I love the cults, I love the sci-fi, I love the aliens, I love the campiness of it.
Sci-fi is amazing.
Oh yeah, and when you blend that in like a really fun like weavable way, especially for like children or Disney Plus, that's a really big achievement. I know for some people it's like, no, go all the way horror, but even mitigating it to something on Disney Plus is a feat on its own. So that's really cool that they're doing it and they're doing it well. So really excited to see where this goes. I might even watch it.
That's very well put, Alonzo.
Yeah,
this is like, I think it's said October 13 is when this thing drops on Disney Plus. So definitely something to sort of mark your calendars for there. Let's go ahead and exactly. Let me go ahead and rewind and reload this particular playlist here and see. Here we go. I took the opportunity to load up the Muppets Haunted Mansion trailer so we could actually sort of take a quick look at that, since that's at the very least news to both of you.
Yeah, because that trailer felt very nostalgic. Like it gave me like 90s vibes. Like I loved it, like late 80s, 90s. Like I love all of that stuff. That was so good.
There was like a vintageness to it.
Yeah. And Disney, I'm pretty sure they'll hop on it, but that needs to be a ride. It'll be a ride. I bet you it'll be some type of ride that they have, or seasonal, or they're going to incorporate it into like the Haunted Mansion. If you've ever been to Disney, Disneyland, or Disney World.
Is Disney World's Florida land is Anaheim,
California,
right?
That's right.
Yeah. I've only been to the one. I've only been to the Florida one.
Did you like it?
I was 18, my first time going, and I loved it. My only problem was the Star Wars section wouldn't open until the following year. And I was like, bro,
you like Star Wars.
It was just the hype was everywhere. Everyone was coming off of like Rogue One or like the seventh one, and it was in the air. Like everyone craved it. So naturally, I craved it because I was a people's person. So I was like, okay, I want to see what all the hubbub is about. And I saw the tarps and everything over the Millennium Falcon, and I mean that's a big piece of pop culture, something.
Yeah.
So I want to see the Falcon. That sounds awesome. But I gotta go back sometime soon now that they've had years to just settle and expand.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's been like since I was maybe like, God, I'm trying to think. Early childhood was the first and only time I went to Disney World. So it's like, God, I can only imagine like everything that they've done on that premises,
Really?
basically. And that's kind of like my most recent. Actually, I take that back. I think I went to Disneyland one time. The first time that I went to California, way back when. Who's this? Raina, who's this you have with you?
This is Jazzy.
Aw, that's cute.
That's nice. Hello, Jazzy. Welcome to the show.
Right. She was sleeping on me for a little bit.
Ooh, were we too loud with the fan talk?
No.
No? Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Try to bite me.
Oh, ouch. Let's move on. This is the next up. We have the first trailer for, well, I guess the only trailer. This right around the release date here. This is for Muppets Haunted Mansion, which looks like some sort of, at the very least, a miniseries, if not an outright movie, going straight to Disney Plus, presumably later this month. So let's go ahead and take another look, closer look here. This is Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Welcome to the home of fear and fright, where not all guests survive the night. The lucky souls will live to tell, and those who don't will rot in.
What's the matter with you? You can't say that. This is a family show. What are you doing?
I love it.
Welcome, foolish Muppets,
always
to tonight's
stuff like
very
that.
special Halloween challenge.
We just have to survive the night in this haunted mansion.
Everything here will seem familiar, but your eyes may deceive you.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I'm mysterious, Madame Pagoda.
I knew it.
Turn it down. I can't hear myself think.
Take 5, everybody.
Where are you going? No.
Happy Halloween!
This place is really haunted.
Fiends, omens, and bogeymen. Lend me your fear.
It's showtime.
Usually I'm worried about dying up here, but it looks like you beat me to it. Don't you have anything better to do than boo me?
Tough room.
Ooh, indoor lightning.
Not a shrimp? Close enough.
Shaka waka!
If by sunrise you fail this
Oh, this is
endeavor,
gonna be so good.
you must remain here forever.
I'm out of here. How did you?
That's awesome. That's funny.
I could just eat you alive.
That's sweet, right?
Muppets Haunted Mansion, streaming exclusively on Disney Plus.
Okay.
That's gonna be so good.
That's cool.
Yeah, hang on a second. Let me put this back over here.
I could just eat you alive.
It's always a delay when I try to get the.
Muppets Haunted.
There it is. The title card. Okay. So, wow. Alonzo, you want to take this first?
Dude, I love Haunted Mansion. I remember watching the Eddie Murphy movie when I was like a baby, and the Crystal Ball lady was always my favorite character. She spat facts, dude. She was funny. Oh my god, she was so cool. I also just have a fascination with like, I don't know, like the witchy stuff, like October culture and like crystal balls and floating heads telling you what to do. So I love Haunted Mansion. I remember like the scene with like the zombies in the cemetery underground and everything.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're making all these references is really cool, and it's cool for me because in my only time at Disney, I remember going on the Haunted Mansion ride, and I remember like the guy going and the walls stretch or whatever. I understood that reference. That was so cool that I was able to catch it.
Awesome.
So
And
that's
can
gonna
we-
be cool. Yeah, they're making all kinds of references to the movie, to the actual ride. So it's cool to see it kind of like play out.
And it's interesting to see like the Muppets Christmas Carol level of creative casting for the different Muppet characters that aren't clearly the centerpiece of the plot, which clearly this centers around Gonzo and Pepe. But like in terms of where the other characters kind of come into play that are not celebrity cameos of some kind, it's who else are you gonna put in the crystal ball but Piggy, for example?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's one of those no-brainers sort of things that you go like, oh, yeah, that
And
makes
it's gonna
sense.
be funny
You know?
that she's in there too. It's gonna be so funny.
Yeah.
Animal and Mr. Teeth and the band are like the backing for the crystal ball. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. Fozzie as that zombie, as the zombie guy near the end. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, it's just throughout. It's really sort of like, it really sort of reminds me how lucky we are that, you know, okay, Most Wanted aside, the movies, the most recent Muppet movies, like to a large extent, this new renaissance that we've been getting from the Muppets as a brand, like we're very lucky to have gotten that movie when we did and the way that we did, so that it kind of could set the stage for something like this. Because like the Muppets are basically timeless, really.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you think about it, like you could really kind of put them in anything, really. Muppets are kind of in the same category as Lego. You could put them in anything and sort of like make it wacky and crazy.
Literally.
You know? Which, by the way, putting Will Arnett in this, I can't even see this guy without hearing the Lego Batman voice in my head for some reason. Like when I see Will Arnett, I go, that's Lego Batman. I know that's not what this project is, but it's just like, I like that casting in anything like remotely like comedic or family oriented, because that's where my subconscious goes now. You know, it's just like, that's how amazing that casting was. But anyway, Raina, what are your thoughts? Raina, you're the only one of us who's an actual parent. So like from that perspective, what are your thoughts on this?
Can't wait to show it to the kids. I like all the spooky stuff. I am big on Halloween. I am big on fall season, but mainly, like I said, I like all the spooky stuff. Same. And all the fun witchy stuff. And it's cool. Can't wait to see this. I really hope to see. Do you remember the heads that were singing in the cemetery?
Yes.
And they kept
they were
everything
great.
he was saying.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I hope they do that. And like I told you, what I like about Muppet movies, I like that they're innuendo-y. So there's things that'll go right over the kids' heads and that are going to be funny to me. Like right in the beginning when they were like, send you straight to, and it has 666 on the door. Then everyone's all, hey, don't say that. Don't say that. This is a family show. And I love when they do stuff like that because we all know what could have come next because it rhymed with, you know, HE double hockey stick. But they're just like, all the Muppets are like, don't say that. Don't do that. That's a family show. I like that they do stuff like that. And it's always so funny because it's good for me and the kids. And so this is going to be fun. I love Haunted Mansion. It's one of the best ones. It's going to be an awesome October. And I'm excited about it.
Definitely.
Me
definitely.
too, honestly.
It's going to be a good month for Halloween.
And it looks like the best part about this is you're going to have to wait like barely a week. Like it looks like this thing is launching on the 8th.
I can't wait.
There you go.
It's going to be a good life.
Mark your calendars for this. Say again.
So it's going to be a good life. And I honestly can't wait. Like I'm just now getting started on decorating my place Halloween. So this is all coming right in time.
Nice.
Right on time.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Definitely looking forward to this as well personally. So let's go ahead and move on. Next item is another Disney film, something called Encanto. Have you all heard about this?
I've seen it on Twitter, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, this is I guess we'll chalk this up as, you know, from the studio that did Frozen, you know, stuff like that. Basically, this is basically one of those movies where Disney does something like Pixar level by itself without having anything to do with Pixar. So, which there's a part of me that always gets a little weirded out by that when I see Disney doing something along those lines that looks like it should be a Pixar thing, but it's not. You know,
that's weird. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see. I mean, so far the movies have been pretty good, so we'll see what happens with this one. Here's Disney's Encanto.
Many years ago, this candle blessed our family with a miracle. Our house, our casita, came to life with magic.
Hola, casita.
Floors! Let's go! In time, every member of our family
Cecilia, up top!
was given their own magical gift.
I understand you.
I'm not super strong like Luisa.
The donkey's got out again.
On it! Or effortlessly perfect like Señorita Perfecta Isabella. But Mama, why am I the only one that didn't get a gift?
You're just as special as anyone else in this family.
You just healed my hand with an arepa con queso.
Casita?
What's going on?
The magic is in danger. We gotta get out of here!
We must protect our home. We must protect our family.
This is my chance. I will save the magic. Wait, how do I save the magic?
I'm losing my gift.
Mirabel, the fate of the family is gonna come down to you.
I can't do this.
Let me help you. The rats told me everything. Don't eat those.
Even in our darkest moments, there's light where you least expect it. A lot of stairs.
But at least I'll have a friend. Nope, he flew away immediately.
Quitter!
Okay, so what is y'all's reaction to this movie? I guess Raina, you want to go ahead and start?
I'm over it.
What do you mean you're over it?
Getting over.
Where you least expect
Hang on one
it.
moment, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so Encanto.
Yes.
I'm getting over these movies. You have to think about it. We have and it just came out, and it's based on Dia de los Muertos, and it's the theme is Dia de los Muertos, and I'm trying to remember Coco. So we have Coco already, we have Vivo already, we have there's a couple of movies that came out like that, all back to back. Coco, Vivo, Encanto now, and we have there's another one that's kind of like that, and it has there's a couple of movies that have come out, and it's all Latin culture. Great. Awesome. But I just feel like a lot of the same movies are getting made again. One that just came out was Luca.
Yes.
Luca, I'm not sure. Luca, I don't know if it was Latin or Italian.
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 Was in
Luca's
Sicily,
Italian.
I think.
However, all of these look the same. They all look the same to me. And
Are you talking in terms of like how the story is structured, or are you talking about tonally, like in terms of character representation, or like how do you mean they're all the same?
kind of the storyline, character representation, the magical cultural message behind it. They all kind of have that. And I won't say magical, because some of it is spiritual. Like Coco is based off of, Dia de los Muertos. Do you guys understand what that one is? That's like celebrating
Day of the Dead.
Right. The life of your loved ones that passed, and your ancestry. And a couple of these movies kind of have that. I mean, and even not even just the Latin culture thing. I mean, what just came out? Soul looks like that. They all look like this. And they all have to do with some form of like spiritual connection, or into like life, and like the past, the present, and the present going into the past and into the spiritual realm, and all that stuff. If you think about it on a deeper level, and I'm a deep thinker like that, I just feel like these all look the same. That's really like, and they all look the same. I mean, Moana was very different because this is the same creator as Moana, right? In Zootopia.
Mhm.
Same studio anyway, but I'm not sure about the makeup of the creative team involved.
Right.
But sorry, go ahead.
I like that Moana was the first Polynesian princess, but I just feel like it's all starting to look the same. That's the only thing I'm really not. The kids will love it though. They always do.
Alonzo, what are your thoughts?
I agree with a lot of what she said. I think the style is there. I think the style seems familiar, but I think the best. I mean, I just hope the movie's good, honestly, because the other ones, despite their common traits stylistically, I still think a lot of them are really good movies, and I hope Encanto's good. It doesn't seem like something I would go out of my way to watch. I remember why I watched Luca, and that was, I think, one of the shortest Pixar movies, also due to COVID, but
yeah,
narratively, it was there. It made sense. It filled its job.
The kids loved Luca.
Yeah, no, it was great. It had a really good story. Soul, that one came out during Christmas, I believe, and I remember watching that as a family movie. That was a deep movie. Also, very hard concepts for children to digest in Soul, in my opinion. But that's a different conversation. But Encanto looks great. I'm excited to see what type of Latin culture it explores. Maybe it'll have a niche to it that it just isn't explored in the trailer. But overall, it looks kind of like your stationary Disney film. I think it's going to do great numbers because all Disney films do great numbers that way. And you don't underestimate the power of children and their views and their audiences and the family.
Especially right now, though, things are streaming right from home right away.
Yeah,
and the kids are able. I buy my kids things on Disney Plus like crazy. They wanted to see Raya, the dragon something.
Yeah.
Raya, was it Raya?
And the Last Dragon, yeah, heavily based on Southeast Asian culture, by the way. But keep going.
Great one. Yeah.
That one was that one. I really liked Raya because it was different. It was different. Like I didn't compare it to Mulan. It was very different. It was Asian culture, but I think it had been a while since we see anything like that. For me personally, I think it had been a while since we've seen anything like that. But these ones, I just feel like, they just keep going.
I mean, between you mentioned Moana and Raya, and we did a little bit of talk about Luca, where that story's origins basically tie in terms of how where it's set and sort of the vibe, the aesthetic vibe, and the geographic representation, the representation that that movie tends to bring up. And then let's not forget about, in terms of these modern Disney movies, what I guess we can consider sort of the beginning of the modern representation, if we can call it that, within Disney films, which I guess kind of would go to, I'm trying to think it would be between Tangled and Frozen. Frozen is adapted from Norwegian culture, if I'm not mistaken. Alonso, does that sound right? Yeah. And Tangled, I'm trying to remember where Tangled is from. I know that's clearly, obviously, a Rapunzel adaptation, but
I don't remember. But those two are very different too. Like I don't know, like even Frozen, I was fine with Frozen. Something about these ones I just feel like are happening back to back as far as like the animation style. The way they're animated, they're starting to look the same to me.
I mean, at the same time, if it's not broke, don't fix it, which I definitely see Disney doing it as like a business standard. Because if you look at all these numbers, they're so good. Like they just keep escalating, and goes to show what a really good formula visually and narratively looks like when it comes to just Disney animation. But honestly, I echo all the things you say too. It definitely has its flaws, or fatigue, I should say. There's definitely a fatigue to it.
That's the word for it. That's the word.
Yeah. But I think if you think about it psychologically, I think we are most prone to it. But our previous generations are going to see this and they're going to be so enamored by how much content they can get just through Disney streaming and Disney animation.
I'm sorry, do you mean subsequent generations, the kids?
Oh yeah, the kids. Yeah.
Okay. No, I completely hear where you're coming from, and I'm inclined to agree. But at the same time, although I hear your point, I'm more inclined to agree with again, I got a +1 Raina's thesis about just the fatigue, as you just put it, Alonso. Like it's where's the beef? where's the innovation, I guess, is sort of the larger comment to be made here. Like, representation is fantastic, you know, but it's like, if it's all kind of a color by numbers plot, and the older gen and the millennial generation and older can sort of detect all the basic beats, you know, it's almost like, this is clearly not a family movie anymore. This is clearly a kids movie. You can't really market this as a family movie if a significant portion of the family isn't gonna be able to take anything away from it, isn't gonna like feel like, you know, this was worth the investment of time beyond just something to share with little kids. You know, like, is Disney really pivoting more towards making movies just for kids? Or are they serious about, like, you know, staying in the lane that they've carved out for themselves for several decades of being family friendly for everybody in the family? So there seems to be a conversation to be had there. Sorry, Rana, go ahead.
Yeah, sort of, because I mean, this is depending on your background. This is family movie for the background. Like I mentioned, Coco. That was a family movie for sure, and it was, especially when you have a cultural background of it. I mean, I have a tattoo, fun fact, and it is a Dia de los Muertos sugar skull, and on there are the things that engraved in the skull are the things that I loved at the time that I got it. I was 22 when I got this tattoo, and there's a star in it, dance shoes, because I'm in dancing, music notes, and like in the top there's like flowers and like oceans that go around the skull, and I got it in, you know, reference to celebrate me and the things that I love when I'm gone. At the time it was deep to me. At 22 I was being deep, but with that being said, like with Coco, it depends on your background. And so if that is your background and something that you can relate to, it's definitely a family movie. If it's, if it relates to your family, like, you know, like I said, Moana, a lot of people didn't understand or like Moana, but Polynesian culture and like what it had to do with, and like the Voyagers and all the stuff that were on there, that's a family movie for them. You know, so it all depends on, like, I think your background and what is the word for, like, relatability, like how you
identifiability.
Yeah.
Let's see. There are two, before we move on, like there are two competing questions that I guess kind of are in the same sort of hemisphere, but let me go ahead and throw this over to Alonso first, because you sort of touched on a little bit of this earlier when you were talking about Luca, because on a personal note, Alonso, I know you're part Sicilian, part Italian, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like what was when you first heard that Luca was being made, like how did you feel about that?
So at first I felt really happy just because I knew that Disney was going the more diversity route with its creativity and its stories and a lot of their inspirations, which is really cool because they did a great job with Moana. They did a great job with Coco, and seeing them tackle Italy was a really cool idea. And funny enough, it resonated more with me because my grandma showed me the Universal Monsters movies, and The Creature from the Black Lagoon was always my most favorite one compared to like Dracula and the other ones like Frankenstein. And I think Guillermo del Toro came out with The Shape of Water recently, which was basically like Oscar worthy Creature of the Black Lagoon, because it literally won Best Picture. And that movie blew my mind. And the fact that Disney was going to merge my heritage with this film concept that was kind of similar to, you know, the ones that I really like the fish monster people, that's great. And the story was really cute. The story was great. You got all your really cute oohs and ahs from your Disney movies. I really love the supporting cast, and I love the supporting cast members in the whole film. And I liked how short it was. I didn't see it as a negative. I saw it as a very good pro because it didn't need any filler. It was really straight to the point. It gave you exactly what you needed from that type of story. And for all those reasons, it hit the nail on the head for me. But I'm excited to see what type of legacy Encanto has and what type of legacy it'll continue to birth for the future of Disney animation. Yeah.
So let me go ahead and do. I'm so glad you like phrased that way, because like that's really, it wouldn't have occurred to me that it would have that even to the point of how the runtime was so like comparatively shortened to the point, as opposed to like other Disney movies in this sort of genre. It doesn't really sort of milk its runtime for the sake of what presents as necessary story space or character development. Basically, it just gets stuff done. You know, and it seems to be a decent. Whoops. Sorry, there we go. I can't turn off the stupid YouTube progress bar from this thing. But anyway, I hear you on sort of like how good of a job they did with like representing with representing your culture. And so on that note, I want to go ahead and pivot over to Reina here, down because of how my screen is oriented here. But the Reina, what are your thoughts on, like, because to my knowledge, the only real thing of consequence that Disney Plus had, at least as far as Disney Plus has, to say nothing, just sort of like leaving the theatrical side of it out for now. At least as far as Disney Plus is concerned, the only thing that they have as far as representation for Black culture seems to be like the remake of The Proud Family. That's kind of it. Like, don't forget that's coming down the pipe too. What would it? My larger question is sort of on the heels of Alonso's point here. What would a movie that's a faithful sort of homage or love letter or a respectful sort of thing along those same lines for Black culture, what would that look like? What could that look like coming from Disney?
You know, I really don't know. Because even there's like a couple different things. Like, okay, what I did see in here that I did like is they had it seems to be of Latin culture, obviously with the word Encanto, but there were Afro-Latino looking people in there. As you know, for me, I'm Black and Dominicana from Dominican Republic, my dad's side. And I did like that there were more brown Latin representations in here. However, all we really have is is it the Frog Princess?
Yeah, Princess and the Frog.
Yeah. And wow, as far as like animation is concerned,
as far as this kind of like fully CGI non-Pixar thing, like this is clearly like creating characters that can on some level be like sort of absorbed into like, you know, it's almost like the weird sort of Disney princess
and that's
pantheon.
a whole nother conversation though. Like it's a culture thing, and because I mean, that's another conversation, but it's another conversation. It's not a bad one, but here's the deal. Okay. You have African Americans, you have Black Americans, right? Black Americans. And then you have Africans. And then you have Afro-Latino, and which are Black Latin culture. Anybody in that, or Latinx, what they're calling it, generation of people too. And like I said, this term that's been a thing now is Afro-Latino. It's hard, depending on who likes the writers are and things, when we got the Frog Princess, right? Our first Black Disney princess. And people were upset that she spent most of the movie as also a frog. And that was a big controversy because she wasn't a princess the whole movie. Like she was, but she turned to a frog too. And so people were just like, oh, how you gonna give us a princess and she turned to a frog the whole time? And it was like this whole thing. And
she can't just be regal, the recognizably regal as a human, as a fully rounded human being.
And here's the deal about that. It gets touchy. If I'm being real, it gets touchy because I would say it's a realm where it's like, what do we do to not piss a whole culture of people off?
Yeah.
And it comes down to that. Like it comes down to okay, if we make a film and there's like Black culture in it, what does Black culture look like when it's such a wide range.
Right.
You can't just pinpoint one thing, like, because Black culture is a lot of things to like unbox, and a lot of great things at that too. A lot of great things, but what do you do? Like, it's one of those things. Like, and I don't ever fault when people are like, "Oh, Disney didn't give a." What do you do? Because honestly, with Latin culture, Asian culture, a lot of different cultural backgrounds, right? They have a culture to really go off of. They know where they came from. They know where they came from. They know their history or somewhat, or, you know, they have that background. But with like Black culture, it's like, can you pinpoint it to one place? Really? And so that's the thing about these movies. They can pinpoint them to one place, i.e. Mexico, Italy, you know, certain islands, things like that. But Black culture is such a wide range of things. How do you like pinpoint one thing? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's like
and
harder
sort of-
to make movies like that.
Yeah, that makes sense in terms of just making sure that you're doing as many relevant subsets of the target demographic justice properly. You know, because it's more than just
It gets tricky and it gets dangerous too.
Yeah,
For a
absolutely,
production
and
company. That can make or break you. Depending on what you do, that can make or break your views and start a whole bunch of stuff. So that's just basically where I'm gonna like cap that. That's
and you know, I would also add to that very carefully. Raina, your point earlier about at the beginning of this conversation about how sort of predictable and in a certain sense formulaic the plot beats and a lot of different characteristics of this type of film that purports to represent different world cultures, how repetitive they are. It's almost like it was inevitable that they sort of become that way, because it sort of seems like the path of least resistance is to sort of develop a color by numbers formula for how to tell a story that's faithfully representative of a specific demographic, of a specific culture, of a specific heritage. And, you know, if it feels redundant, whatever, that's the price that you pay for not angering a lot of people about how they're being misrepresented or how that sort of thing.
I'll say what I do like about these movies. They're very new Disney, where it's like the princess doesn't always need a savior in these. Like, we have real life warrior princesses and like all this cool stuff. And it's not your typical like somebody falls in love with a prince and he comes to save them and all this stuff. I like that Disney's getting away from that, the sweep you off your feet, princess, whimsical, you got to meet your Prince Charming storyline. I like that they're not doing that anymore. They're not doing that much at all anymore. I like that they're still killing at least one parent in them. Have you guys ever noticed that about Disney movies? They're still doing that. That still stays. There's always one parent. Somebody is always dead. Somebody is always dead. I like that they're keeping hope alive with that. They will never change that. Disney, the dad is either dead or the mom is either dead. Their dad and the mom cannot exist in the same movie.
But why are you positioning this? Why are you presenting this as a feature and not a bug? That's not a positive thing. I mean, is that really a positive?
It is kind of. It's Disney. It's a
pattern, but
right? Somebody has to die in the beginning of the movie. Somebody has to die.
But
somebody just.
Alonso, help me out here. What do you, is that a good thing? Is that a feature or a bug?
It's Disney.
The one parent tradition.
I didn't even notice it until you mentioned it. I feel like I'm going back and now I'm like, I think she's right.
Dun, dun, dun.
What about Inside Out? Wasn't there mom and dad there?
Yes, that's true. There wasn't a mom and dad in
because
Inside Out.
you went into their brains too, and you saw like the dad had the mustaches on every character.
Yes, but hold on. Yes, but there's a part 2 to that thought that you just brought up. Inside Out was also a Pixar movie. It's not technically a Disney Animation Studios movie. So that's
think about it.
Fair.
Cinderella, no parents. Mulan,
no parents.
No mom.
Lion
Jack,
King,
no mom.
kind of Turned out to be one mom.
Well,
no mom. Who else didn't have a
yeah,
mom?
that's true. Yeah.
Who?
Lion King
No, I was
turned out to be one mom.
Lion King.
Started with
Only a
both
mom.
parents. Started with both parents, but then yeah, James Earl Jones had to take that fall.
Right. Dad died. What else? Let's go. There's so many.
The Little Mermaid. We never saw her mom.
Little Mermaid. Didn't have a
Sleeping
mom.
Beauty.
Mom was gone. Sleeping Beauty had no parents. Does she have any
Wait
parents?
a minute. I have to go back because I'm pretty sure at least in the Maleficent movies, I'm pretty sure there was both parents.
Who?
The Angelina Jolie adaptation, the Maleficent movies, the first one.
They
I'm
broke
pretty
the
sure there were
normality.
parents there.
Beginning, I'm sure though. Who died in the beginning? Somebody always dies in the beginning of Disney movies. Always.
We're gonna need to look in on this. Those of you who are watching live on Instagram or YouTube, please drop a comment below if you remember the Sleeping Beauty movies better than we do.
Sleeping
Or,
Beauty.
like,
I'm
after
pretty
the
sure
fact.
she didn't have any. Did she have any parents? She was an orphan. What happened? Bambi. Bambi's a good one. That's the oldest one in the
Bambi's
book.
the most famous orphan of all.
The mom
Bambi's
died.
the most. Yeah.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah.
What else? Oh my goodness, there's so many.
Does-
The Frog Princess only had a dad. Princess
Okay,
Tiana only
there
had
you
a
go.
dad. Who else?
Does Pinocchio count? Pinocchio wasn't biologically born of Geppetto, but there was never really a mom there, unless you count the Blue Fairy. But that's kind of
No.
also debatable.
There's hardly ever two parents.
What
If you
about
guys
Dumbo? Oh yeah, one parent.
Only had a mom. Guys, I
Interesting.
know
Dang,
Disney
that's pretty cool.
conspiracy theories, okay? And that is one thing. There's always, if you think about it, Alonzo, there's always one parent. Do your homework tonight. There's always one parent gone.
Yeah, I gotta watch these YouTube breakdown videos.
There's always one
Absolutely.
parent gone. What else just came out that was Disney? Whose mom died in the beginning of Cruella?
That was her own
And that's
mom, and
new
that was
Disney.
technically an accident. So
She still died.
sort of.
Pretty good
Mom
movie
still
too.
died. There's always somebody that still dies. Whatever. What else came out? Not whatever. Who else? Moana's grandma died.
Yep.
Coco's dad died.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. I can't believe I really never noticed that.
Look it up. It's
There you
pretty.
go.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
We should move on because this has been we've gone on
We
way
should,
too
but
long with this.
That's one of my favorite Disney conspiracy theories. Is that there's always one parent that just enjoy
I feel
that.
like you need to do, Rada, I think you need to do a standalone video for the channel, sort of like breaking down this conspiracy and like just how far the rabbit hole goes. Because I think that'd be a really
It does,
fascinating
and
solo
it's
thing.
crazy. Oh, the rabbit hole gets
Yeah.
deep. But
Yeah.
we'll move on. But you guys have fun with that fun fact.
Encanto, I might see it. Raina, where are you at?
I'll definitely see it because the kids are gonna want to see it.
Okay, Alonzo.
I have to. I've seen all of them before. Now I have to.
Okay, that settles that. I guess we're in one way or another. We're pretty much all going to see this movie now.
Review coming soon.
So there you go. Let's shift gears over to something sort of like on the same heels of where Encanto was coming from in terms of plot structure and sort of the story beats. The notion of different people having different abilities. Here we go to arguably the most famous anime that sort of falls along that same sort of story path. My Hero Academia. Everybody has quirks. Everybody has special abilities, right? See, segue. It's like we planned this. So here we go. This is something called World Heroes Mission. My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission. This is a trailer that was just released by Funimation within the last 24 to 36 hours, I'm going to say. Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer.
This is it, heroes. Start your missions.
Why were superhuman powers, the meta abilities known so casually as quirks, forced upon our kind? These quirks bring about nothing but tragedy. They are not a blessing on our world, but the beginning of its end. We humorize must take action. Even if it means dyeing the earth red with blood.
Leader's gone. Search the premises.
I repeat, Humorize has placed bombs bombs around the world. The weapons are set to explode in 1 hour and 52 minutes unless the heroes are able to find and disarm them worldwide.
Heroes, success or failure of this task rests on your shoulders.
This is it, heroes. Start your mission.
Go! There's the way! Protect the heroes, our friends, and the world.
You humans are being threatened by the sickness of quirks. The gravely afflicted are beyond our help. Deku!
I won't give up because Deku would never give up.
Okay. I'm intrigued by this, and that says something considering I do not watch My Hero Academia. This is I'm aware of the show, I'm aware how it works, I'm aware of a couple of beats about it, but the antagonist, there's a point where what sounded like the antagonist from this movie making a comment about how quirks, special abilities, are like a sickness. You know, and there's a part of me that's always sort of like fascinated whenever I see superhero stories being done with an antagonist that thinks he or she is curing the world of like meta abilities or something, because like it's like it's sort of like I tend to equate to it like a metahuman ability as sort of like a car. You know, it's not the morality of the ability in question doesn't necessarily get determined by the ability itself so much as the person with the ability and how they choose to use it. So just making a broad brush statement of this is a disease that needs to be exterminated. I mean, it's a little tropey. It's a little cliche-ish basically of an antagonist for a movie, certainly. But I mean, this is, you know, hopefully they'll take it in a different direction that we haven't seen before. Reina, Alonzo, which one of you wants to go first here or second?
I actually don't have much to say just because I'm not very familiar with like My Hero Academia, but the art style looks great. I know it's super popular just from what I know, just by like media, pop culture lingo. This is pretty big. I know Demon Slayer is pretty big. Maybe this should be my introduction to start watching it because it looks cool. It's super action packed, which I personally really like in my shows and in my media. But it's coming out soon, so I guess there's not really much of an excuse to not watch it, especially since all the hype is there. And I'm sure we're going to get another trailer for My Hero Academia in the future. I bet I could be more informed by it next time. But yeah, it looks cool. It looks great. And I guess the more content, the better.
Let me go ahead and look something up that's sort of I was inspired by from the last couple sentences that you said there. Rana, you want to go ahead and take the say something on this?
Basically the same thing. Like I said, I have a bunch of students that are into it, so I know it's pretty popular. I've never watched it myself. The animation looks really nice. It's when I was younger and I used to watch anime, very like light. Like I said, I would do Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball Z, things like that. And there was other shows that Initial D, one of my favorites, and that was a really good one. It's an anime, but it's about cars. It's like watching Fast and Furious, but anime. I loved Initial D, and that was recently. But I do like it for that reason. Anime, for some reason, the style of it relaxes me, so I don't mind watching it. Like I'll watch, like if you listen to lo-fi music beats, lo-fi study beats on Instagram, a lot of the visuals on there look like anime. Some of them, cool. And it, like, I don't know, something about that style of animation really relaxes me. I don't know if that sounds weird, but yes,
yeah, something about
it's like stimulating.
The kids will love it.
Yeah, something about this trailer tells me this movie will be the definite antithesis of anything remotely soothing, like, you know, appropriate to have in the background of like studying or to fall asleep to. This looked like a really action-packed trailer for a really action-packed
the kids
movie.
I can't wait to hear my students talk about it. Oh my gosh. That's gonna like make my heart so happy. They're gonna be so excited. And I can't wait to hear them talk about that.
You'll be able to talk to them about it too.
Right.
Like, that could be really cool.
I'm thinking I should watch it for that reason, to be able to relate to the kids. I would do that.
So check it out. The release date on here is October 29. That's falls on a Friday. So the following Monday, when school opens up again, November 1, that's going to be the first thing on everybody's mind, basically. First thing. You all right? Ran it? You good? Okay. That's going to be the first thing on everybody's mind here, definitely. Or at least among the diehard anime crowd in particular. Alonso, your point about sort of like maybe something to check out, to sort of get yourself like introduced to this field of anime in particular. I should mention I did some quick research on this. One of the logos here, I don't know if the Instagram crowd can see from the resolution of this rip, but one of the logos down here, I guess, is one of the production companies involved in the English dub here. Funimation is the company responsible for this. I should also mention, upon further research, Funimation has the complete series, the original My Hero Academia show, all 5 seasons. It looks like they have that on that platform, and also Crunchyroll and Hulu have all 5 seasons as well. So there's some options there to be able to sort of like binge your way through that show over the course of October. So when this thing drops on the 29th, on the 29th, you'll be basically good to go, theoretically.
Nice.
So, as well as like anybody watching at home who might be also interested to check this out. On that note, once again, thanks so much for watching. Those of you who are with us on Instagram Live at Weekend Showcase or over on YouTube.
Hi, everybody.
Exactly. Hi, everybody. Hi, Dr. Nick.
Right. I wish I could see it, because usually what I would do is I would have my laptop right here, and it'll have I can see. The last time we did it, I had my laptop and I was able to, the last time I was on, I had my laptop there and I was able to see who was on. And so this time, no. So.
Oh, whoops. Oh, well.
I wish I could see it.
Well, definitely
I like to watch how it looks like, to the viewer while we're filming.
Yeah. We usually get more viewers for the on-demand stuff anyway, because we're still like in the process of getting the word out about the fact that we're doing live now. But anyway, we'll get there. In the meantime, there's one more trailer that we have in the barrel, something called Attack of the Hollywood Clichés, which this seems to be something that's at least somewhat amusing here. Uh-oh. Raina, did we lose you? Uh-oh. Hello?
A little bit,
crud.
yes. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you. We lost your camera.
Yes, you did. You can only see my eyeshadow now.
We're gonna go ahead and launch it. Oh, okay, there you go. Uh-oh. I have to reposition the thing
I'm
here.
back.
There you are. Welcome. Let me go ahead and reposition this. Well, I can go ahead and start this thing anyway. Here's the trailer. I got to go ahead and fix the camera perspective for Instagram. But here's Attack of the Hollywood Clichés, which seems to be coming to Netflix pretty soon. So this should be interesting.
Thousands of movies are released every year.
Oh, it's Rob Lowe.
That's a lot of stories. Stock characters, familiar story beats, and convenient plot devices have crept in over time. Tonight, we celebrate the cliches that have made cinema what it is today.
There's a bloodlust that a great villain creates in an audience.
You can say gibberish dialogue with great conviction.
These are trophies I keep in my
Oh, Richard E. Grant.
How do you suggest the act of sex without actually showing it? Is it raining outside?
Music will be building, bodies will look amazing. It's so passionate. We all know what's going to happen. We don't really need to see the next bit.
The Wilhelm scream.
It's an industry joke.
We need a new scream. Need a character to express surprise? Give them a drink.
What's a hard-on, Daddy?
There has to be some kind of a struggle to go through, or else it would be boring.
There's a lot of story to tell. There's not enough time left to tell it. It's okay. Just like in Beverly Hills, you can simply cut out any flap you don't like using scissors. Enter montage mode.
How are you supposed to fuck people with one leg on the floor? I don't know.
I love Richard E. Grant.
Can't wait to see that.
What an amazing actor. Yeah, that looked the most interesting in my opinion.
I cannot wait to watch that.
That's going to be a really powerful show, like Hollywood cliches for aspiring movie directors and writers.
Yeah.
Having like a whole hub of just, hey guys, here's just a little taste of the lingo if you ever want to go that route, which is really cool. Like film literacy is always fun.
I can't
Yeah,
wait.
that's
Yeah,
what-
that's what. Honestly, that's something that I wish I could show. I'm pretty sure I can't because
Richard E. Grant's dropping all those words.
right. But I would.
Yeah,
love
did
to
not
show
know
my
that that was
students
part of
this,
this.
'cause
Sorry.
I do musical theater. And if I could show my
Oh
middle kid-
yeah.
if I could show my middle schools this, my middle school kids this, it would be awesome. I can't. But
Yeah.
that's something I would love to show my middle school kids.
That is amazing. I'm so excited for that. I know Netflix came out with something called like The Movies That Made Us and The Toys That Made Us, which is a fantastic docu-series just about like really big impactful films or shows or even like figures and toys that just, you know, made an impact in pop culture for decades or even more. This is going to be cool because now we're touching in things like the Wilhelm scream that's been a thing since like the 30s.
Forever.
And like
yeah, exactly.
yeah, like different movie tropes from different points of history. It's cool because I used to teach film history at an academic level in Temple. So this is speaking to
cool.
me on a different level. That's really fun. I could just integrate and digest well with younger demographics of viewers and audiences.
Okay, so put on your professor hat for a quick second here. Of the different tropes and cliches that we saw and sort of alluded to that are going to be covered in this documentary, you know, the montage, the spit take, the sex. Like what would you say is like the one section that you're most looking forward to being covered here?
That is a really well articulated question. So going off of the things that Rob Lowe so well spokenly said, the montages are very important. The Wilhelm scream is important.
Yeah.
The act of showing and not telling is always important. That's what he meant by how do you show sex without initiating sex, by just panning the camera over and maybe seeing like clothes fly around and the door opening or like it's raining outside. All of those visual implications are so crucial to narrative filmmaking, and it's one of the reasons why so many young aspiring writers fail, because they write out all the action and the dialogue, but they forget that there's this whole other element to filmmaking that can't be written down verbally on a script. Things like, you know, the showing don't tell of the sex, that's a really difficult thing to write in some cases, and that's all up to the director. And if you're the director and the writer, that's an even larger task. So seeing them dive into those tropes, like the visual tropes, one of my favorite ones are the ones where, you know, there's, so here's an example. If you watch a film or a crime film and maybe someone puts a bomb under a car and the car starts driving off and nobody knows that there's a bomb in the car, that's a really cool trope, knowing that the audience knows that there's something going on and you're waiting for it to happen, but it's not happening yet. And it's kind of just like that anticipation. All those elements of suspense and storytelling are so crucial to filmmaking in different genres. I'm excited to see where they're going to explore it and how. And like the examples they show, those are always rich and fun.
There are some tropes that I'm also really looking forward to, like explore, to seeing like how they do, not so much like demonstrate what it is, but like explain the origins of where they come from. Like going back to the showing not telling of intercourse, of physical intimacy. If I remember right, Hitchcock invented one of the more famous sort of interpretations of show but not tell of that, where there's this famous scene from one of his movies where like he just cuts, the stage direction kind of had him sort of like cutting from like, you know, this intimate moment to all of a sudden a tunnel, and then a train sort of passes through the tunnel.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's like, that's one of those things where it's like, and then like some sort of like old timey, like 1940s era factory steam whistle, you know, blowing at the last, blowing off steam at the last moment. You know, these tropes. It's like, which one came first, and then what's the most famous one, and then where did it come from? There's a whole fascinating sort of repository of knowledge and information that's just so indispensable to, again, to Alonso's point, to like
Very well
up-and-coming
said.
filmmakers and writers.
Yeah.
It's really important to bring up. What's Raina, same question. Like, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm sorry, my camera's about to fall again. So what I'm most looking forward to, sorry. Thank you. So my dog was in my lap. So what I'm most looking forward to is like I said, even in the title, like attack of the Hollywood cliches and stuff, just being able to, I love seeing how things are done in real time. Like, you know, as far as like one of my favorite things, there's a thing that we did in one of my classrooms where we watched Brain Games. And there was a thing on Brain Games where they were showing how sound effects were being made for the movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And it was literally people, and I do this thing with my students called body percussion. And there was literally people making, what the kids didn't know is there's people making the sounds with their bodies and with things. And these are not all digital sound effects. A lot of it, like there was a scene where there was burgers. It was raining burgers. Mm-hmm. And what they did was, it was a wet towel. And there's another thing that they used. And they were slapping the wet towel onto wood, which
You're describing
sounded like gooey burgers.
Yeah, it sounded like the mush of like burgers. Yeah.
Right, onto a pier.
How creative.
For those who don't know, the professional term for this is Foley effects, is what you're describing. Foley
right.
effects.
And it was so cool. And so I like seeing the things that make what we watch look so real. And I like seeing the breakdown of things, like not even just behind the scenes, but like what's really going on here. And it's hardly ever what our eyes are seeing and our brains are making it out to be. And so I'm interested to see like the reality behind it. And why certain scenes are there and how they're made, or whatever the case, and how they're made in a way to give the viewer emotions and and to like draw you in and stuff. So I can't wait to see that.
I saw examples like Jurassic Park on there. I wonder which trope they'll explore there. Just from my like assumption, maybe like the ending where like the T-Rex appears out of nowhere and saves Dr. Grant and everyone from the raptors. I always question that scene. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this will go, to be honest.
Probably the comic relief. I think the character type, the Jeff Goldblum character in that first film was basically the comic relief, essentially, in a certain sense, because he was always the one putting up, like, he was spouting off a lot of wisdom in a lot of ways. Like he had the famous life finds a way sort of thing there. Like that was him. But like at the same time, the way he was, yeah, I know, I know everything he does is amazing. But anyway, the way that in that movie, the way that he sort of like delivered a lot of like cynical, sarcastic sort of like observational wit to everything that was sort of going on, and just sort of for like 2/3, for like the first third of the movie, he's like, y'all can't be serious. Y'all can't possibly be serious about like, this is an island with dinosaurs, really. And then it's like, oh my God, you really did this. You couldn't, there's no way that this is actually going to work. We're all about to die because you actually thought this was going to work. Remind me to thank John for a lovely weekend. Like that's basically, to a certain degree, you can call that a type of comic effect, even though that's not really, you know,
for sure.
Yeah. So like, I guess you can sort of call that an interpretation of a cliche, which then opens up a larger can of worms as far as how do you determine what is the cliche versus what is a derivative of a cliche versus what needs to be its own type of cliche, because it's just too different to be lumped in with the others. You know what I mean? So what's, you know, so then I guess we can use this as the last question on this before we wrap up here. Can either of you think of something along the lines of the Goldblum example, I guess, where you have something that's not maybe strictly speaking considered a film cliche, but should be.
In usual movies where there's an ensemble, maybe like 3 or 4 characters, there's always the slow one with the small brain in there. And that's always a cliche that's always shown off. I think my favorite example of it, and it's a very specific example. Like I'd be surprised if you guys got it, but in all of the Godzilla movies, there's a character with a 3-headed dragon, and it's called King Ghidorah. And there's always a running joke that the one on the very far left is always like way dumber than the others, and he'll do like silly things, like he'll stick his tongue out.
I never thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll stick his tongue out, or he'll never be the one. He'll always be the one to get his face punched or something. And in the newest one, because there's always like in the newer movies, there's more of a darker theme to him. But they reference to it, and the left one always like, sticks his tongue out, or maybe uses it like a snake, and the others just kind of like bite onto it like the side of his face, and they're like, pay attention. But that's a cool trope.
That reminds me of, you remember the animated Hercules from like, I think it was 98 when that movie came out, the Disney version? Remember the Cerberus? Same sort of deal.
Cerberus. That's amazing.
Yeah, it all kind of ties together. But I couldn't help but interrupt with that. Go ahead, Alonso, finish your point.
Super specific niche example, pretty good movie. Funny trope, you see it everywhere. But that one might be mine.
Raina, what do you think?
Mine would be, if this like makes sense, when there's always like, okay, like, so let's talk Hollywood cliches. Every horror film, especially in the 90s, there's always someone who runs, they're running and they're trying to get away from the killer or whatever, and they always fall, and for some reason can never like get up and get away. Like it's always so ridiculous how they're on the floor and they're like, oh, and then they'll fall, and then they'll look back, and then they're just there, about to get killed. And it's like always, and they always fall in the most ridiculous ways, in the most ridiculous places. They're not stuck, but for some reason they're still down there about to get killed, and you're like, that's in most horror movies, especially like 90s horror films.
Oh, speaking of horror, oh my god, I know they're going to include this, so this can't count as my answer to this question, but that, since you mentioned horror films, that bit about the killer's right behind you, or
like in the Scream movies,
exactly.
Or one person,
like the Wes Craven,
one person leaves the group and he's like, I'll be right back.
You say Wes Craven, my heart.
Yeah, they're working on Scream 5 right now, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's just about done wrapping up. I think I'm excited. I hope they do really good things with that franchise, because I think they're lacking. I think you can diversify the killer in so many ways. Like, how cool would it be if, I don't know, the killer knew like martial arts? That's suddenly a barrier that like many other people can't like hurdle over. Like how does a teenager or a young adult evade that?
Oh,
like
about somebody. I hear what you're talking about. You're sort. It sounds like you're suggesting like the killer, the Ghostface this time, is somebody who can do like free running or parkour, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, make him.
Oh my god,
make him powerful, make him OP. Like let's see how modern. Yeah, let's see how modern like a young adults can evade something like that. Integrate technology, integrate IP addresses, hacking. Dude, like the Scream character can do cool things today. And I think it's a shame that he's been reduced to like an iPhone call and running through like, your house.
What though? I like all of those ideas. I think that'll be cool. The hacking idea especially. But I'm so touchy about my 90s. That I'm like, if they're gonna do it, they better do it right, because it was fine it was fine the way that it was, and they always bring out our movies. They bring our movies out again, and sometimes I'm just like, you could have left it alone. Nobody asked you to touch that 90s movies like that, or that 80s movies. Nobody asked you guys. Maybe somebody did ask them, but don't touch it. Like
somebody lost a bet.
I'm touchy about my 90s. Like it's 90s till the day I die. Like And
Facts.
the nostalgia of it all, and you guys weren't there. Like this generation wasn't there when it all first came out. They don't get it. And I'm just like, when I see it now, I'm just like, man, don't ruin that for us. That was our thing. There's a couple things that recently came out. Oh, the kids, you know what? It wasn't that bad. Space Jam.
I like
New
Space
Legacy?
Jam.
Yeah.
I
Wasn't
think
that bad. But I was sketchy about that too. I was like, don't do that to us.
yeah.
That's all we have.
I will
I
say, did you both see A New Legacy, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't, I'm not sure if apprehensive is the right word. I'm really not a fan per se. I'm not very happy-ish. I'm not very happy about the way that they ended it. That very last scene.
Me neither.
Because like it's clear what they're trying to sort of do in terms of leaving a door open for a third film. But if that's really what they're trying to do next, as far as the only place left to go for this kind of movie, it sort of runs full circle to the kind of movie that, again, we've seen time and time again, basically. And it's not really bringing anything new to the table. Like I remember seeing a thing where originally there were plans to do, hang on one second, I'm sorry.
It's
there you
like
go.
them redoing Save the Last Dance. I would just die.
Yeah.
Don't do it. I love the first one just the way it is. Don't ever do it.
But in the interest of not sort of retreading old ground, beat for beat, there were plans to actually make sequels to Space Jam way back in the day after the Michael Jordan thing in a way that completely sort of like that put the Looney Tunes characters and the rough concept, or maybe in like different stakes, against a backdrop of different sports. Like I remember seeing something about like there was an idea circulating for Golf Jam, you know,
That's pretty
with
cool.
like Tiger Woods, or
Interesting.
or NASCAR Jam with like, you know, Dale Jr. or somebody like that. You know what I mean? Or something like that where there's other football. Imagine a football jam.
That'd be cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there's if, hey, you know what? If Nintendo can make, you know, more and more, can make a Mario game that's a racer, that's you know, into that's soccer or football, depending on who's watching this around the world, or baseball or golf. You know, all these are Mario games. If all of that can work, why couldn't the Space Jam format where Reina, you're shaking your head. You're not going to devil's advocate me on this. You're going to shake your head. Okay, say it.
Just kidding. Mario is Mario. They were called to do that. That's their calling. Everyone wants to see Super Mario drive a car. Everybody wants to see Princess Peach kick a soccer ball. Everybody wants to see Luigi, you know, play basketball or something. Everyone wants to see it. However, I have never in my life, and all the time that these jams have been out, Space Jam, wanted to see it have anything to do with soccer, baseball, or football. Like none of it. Like I've just never thought about it. I don't know, like the era in which it came out, like it just all made sense. It all made sense, you know? That's the only way I can put it. Like it just all made sense then. And everybody was into the basketball, the Jordans and all the stuff. And the Looney Tunes and you gotta think about it. I think about Six Flags when I see that too. But everything else, no. Sorry, guys. To whoever watching,
well, what about
you know? I just honestly, like I said, I'm one of those people. I remember when we've talked about this. Bring It On came out. I saw that when I was a cheerleader, and we loved it because it was Bring It On. And we were like, yeah, we're all cheerleaders, and it was just a total cheerleader movie. Bring It On was great, but then they started making Bring It On after Bring It On after Bring It On after Bring It On, and it was just like, we don't even have our own Bring It On anymore. Or what else came out? Oh, that would be like them making. I think they did try to, and it didn't, or did it flop? Another Mean Girls.
I know
I love
they did
Mean Girls.
Mean Girls musical. I know they did a Broadway musical about that movie.
If they ever did another Mean Girls, I would not want to see it unless it was the exact same cast. the cast made that movie. I just wouldn't want to. But that's just me, biased.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me just say this one thing, just as a last ditch attempt at devil's advocate, this thing, because like Raina, I hear where you're coming from, and like, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Leave well enough alone. It's going too far. I hear you. Like at the same time, the only thing I could see as like a possible positive spin on this would be sort of like going full circle to some of the something that we were talking about at the beginning of this stream tonight when we were talking about the Disney Classic Games collection, and we were talking about actually, Raina, you had posed this question: who is this for? Who is the target audience for this? And if we sort of like put our minds back in that frame, we can sort of think about it. We can sort of think about this situation in terms of the Space Jam movies. If they were to do other sports, what if they did it in such a way that their demographic was deliberately little kids, and then sort of like introducing them to specific sports or star athletes that they otherwise wouldn't have been introduced to, other than through this movie and the Looney Tunes as sort of a conduit, sort of like how, remember the digital format wars before everything went to streaming. Everything was, for a brief period of like a couple of years, everything was Blu-ray versus HD DVD. Remember that? And then like Sony went, hey, you know what? We have a brand that the whole world knows and loves. It's called PlayStation. Let's use that thing to basically develop technology that acts as a Trojan horse to put Blu-ray technology in people's homes that's already there. And that way we can go ahead and we can negotiate deals to get like, to get more content released on Blu-ray, because we can say, hey, people already have the technology to run this software. They don't have to go out and get a whole new player for specifically this, which was HD DVD's problem. And that's a big part of why we have Blu-ray discs, you know, today. And nobody, like HD DVDs are what, a coaster, best case scenario. It's like, you know what I mean? So I think that might be a saving grace for that idea. Like if they had done the sequels in different sports and centered around different star athletes as a way to introduce, like, you know, being active and trying different sports, you know, that they otherwise, that, you know, certain kids of a certain age range might not otherwise necessarily have like given a second thought to or a certain interest in otherwise, except like, hey, Looney Tunes can do it. You know what I mean? Or this person, this athlete, this personality seems cool. You know, maybe they could look into that. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just like an idea that, I mean, Alonzo, you're nodding along. Like, would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I agree pretty much. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool how we got here just from Attack of the Hollywood Clichés. I'm just like now remembering. I know, right? I love dang, we really went into like a whole rant. Yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed this sort of thing tends to happen on the show a lot. We start with one thing and then we sort of like dive into rabbit hole after rabbit hole. But I guess in closing, Rana, now that you've heard that, are you still like of that mind that even that wouldn't have been a good idea, or like what are your final thoughts on that before we wrap up?
My thoughts stay the same, and okay. I'm just like that. Like I said, I'm huge on my nostalgia. I'm a huge.
Whoops! Whoa! Uh-oh.
My
earthquake.
I know my stand is being kind of weird.
Uh-oh.
On it.
Oh God! It's the big one.
It really is. This is horrible. Hold on. It's my stand.
Technical difficulty. Minor technical difficulty. Please stand by. Please stand by while we transfer.
We need like the Fallout standby.
Please stand by, yes. What is that song? That sounds familiar.
Definitely sounds familiar, right?
What is that song?
I don't know exactly the song, but I've always known like the melody. So.
All right. Well, anyway, welcome back.
Okay, so I'm back. Basically, here's the deal. I'm a huge 80s and 90s film fanatic, especially horror films. All the worst ones. At that.
I think the best horror films come from the 80s. Terminator, Alien, Predator.
One of my favorites
Friday
are
the 13th.
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, Sam Raimi.
The worst. It's so good.
Oh, it's amazing. Army of the Dead. Sam Raimi's daughter goes to Northwestern, I believe. I met her once through a friend.
Really?
Cool.
That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I tried asking her for like Spider-Man 4 and Spider-Man 3, like blooper things, and she was like, I don't care, bro. And I was like, worth a shot. I'm obsessed with your dad. Tell your dad I love him.
You know, funny. It's so funny you mentioned, you name dropped that movie, because like 4 really almost happened, but like they actually had plans for what to do with 4 that actually wound up happening with Tom Holland's first film, because originally
with
Vulture was
Vulture.
going to be right, and then they wanted, like, Mark Webb didn't touch any of that for his 2 movies, and then but it's anyway, we're getting too easily distracted. We need to wrap this up. This has been an amazing episode.
Sorry, that was my work laptop.
It's fine. Well, anyway, let's
playing.
circle back around to this and go ahead and wrap it up. This has been an amazing show this weekend, tonight. So, Attack of the Hollywood Clichés. I am definitely looking forward to this. Let me go ahead and look up when this is hitting, because I don't think the trailer was very specific about this. Alonso, it sounds like you're looking forward to this too.
Oh yeah.
And Raina?
Absolutely.
Awesome. The Hollywood Clichés. I thought I had more time to look this up. But let me see. It looks like this thing is it already up? Crap. I think it's already up.
Nice.
September 28, 2021. Yeah, it looks like it's already out. Nice.
Ooh, I'm watching it.
Oh, that has to be something I'm gonna watch this weekend. Then I'm watching it this weekend.
Should we do a thing like we were gonna do weird news headlines at least one tonight, but usually we do weird news on Saturday nights. Do y'all want to just watch like at least the first part of this like together tomorrow night instead of weird news?
Sure.
I think I'm down. I don't have any plans.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think I could do an episode. Yeah.
I don't even know. Let me take a look at this.
This is my one weekend I have like no plans. I'm shocked.
It's a movie. It's not a mini series. It's a straight up movie. Because like Google has this registered as a film. We'll go ahead and work it out. But anyway, it looks like Attack of the Hollywood Clichés is out right now on Netflix. So those of you with a Netflix membership or password, as the case may be, feel free to check that out. It looks like a really interesting and educational run through a lot of Hollywood history, and it's absolutely
and that's
must
what I'm
viewing.
excited to see, though. A lot of the old Hollywood history that's on there too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. This has been Weekend Showcase trailer reactions for the week ending Friday, October 1st, 2021. Thanks so much for those of you who are watching us live over the course of this broadcast on Instagram at Weekend Showcase or in our YouTube home, youtube.com/Weekend Showcase. And those of you who are watching this on demand, hey, drop a comment below. What are your thoughts on some of the content that we've been talking about? And what are your thoughts on the things that we've been talking about here as far as reactions to things? What are your thoughts? Drop us a comment, drop us a like, drop us a sub. You know how it works. And we'll see you hopefully tomorrow night. We're doing Attack of the Hollywood Clichés anyway tomorrow night, which I am looking forward to. I don't know how I'm going to resist watching this by myself, but I will. I promise I'm going to save my first viewing for you guys.
Wait.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks so much. Raina, always a pleasure. Alonso, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Actually, Alonso, before we hang up, you want to go ahead and give your Dava shout out one more time?
Yeah, so Dava Marketing is the world's fastest growing editorial and just outsourced service for video effects editing and thumbnail creation. And me and Don were just kicking it off, and I'm really glad we could get this friendship. So I'm really happy to just talk about it. But yeah, we just recently partnered with Neil deGrasse Tyson and Jake Paul, Humble Trader, and recently Antonio Brown. So we're growing at a rapid speed. And lately so actually big news for the entire month of October, we're doing a really big $500 off sale for the Ultra package. And that's going to be really cool for any creator who just wants to dive into creating a mass amount of content and seeing what type of impact they could do in their channel and in their niche for, a good month. So that's pretty exciting. Check out davamarketing.com or even reach out to Don or me if you want to hear more about it. But yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Awesome. Likewise. Thank you for joining us tonight. And as always, and again, to get a hold of me, best way to get a hold of me anyway, since you go ahead and put that out there, is through the shows, like the comments feed as well, or through our Instagram page at Weekend Showcase. Just drop a DM there and we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Anyway, so that's about it. Thank you guys once again. Have a great night and looking forward to picking this up again tomorrow. Be safe. Have a good one. See you later.